Hello and welcome to this presentation on Impel Touch for Shriram Bioseeds. What you're seeing here is a highly configured system that is specifically set up for Shriram Bioseeds. So the objects that you would see here are all things that make sense for Shriram. So here you would see things like farmers, dealers, distributors, tracks, which covers the areas that the MDO is traveling on, the activities, crops and products, villages, demo fields, and trouble tickets. These are all the different things that are available here. So before we start, I'd like to talk a bit about the different things that are available here. One, like I said, is that the system is highly configurable, not just on the screen, but in terms of the fields that each of these individual objects will go to. The second thing is that it's a very secure system. So each user has a specific user ID and password that they would use to get into the system, and they would only have access to the data that they would be able to see. Meaning that if you had a sales territory structure that you use, then that territory structure can be mapped into Impel CRM, so that, for example, an MDO that works in the Humnabad district would only have access to the Humnabad data and nothing else. So that's something that's very secure. Also, the data that's on the device itself, whether it's a tablet or a phone, is on a separate partition that is very secure on the device. The other thing is that we have the ability to do offline data storage, which means that if you don't have a data connection, as sometimes happens in rural India, then what happens is that the data that you add, that the MDO adds, gets saved on the phone or the tablet, and whenever a data connection becomes available, at that point it automatically gets synchronized with the Impel CRM servers, which are on the cloud. So let's get into a little bit of detail about what the product actually looks like. So these are all the main entities that we have in the product, and if you click on any of these, it gives you a list of the available items for that entity. So for example, I've just clicked on farmers, so now it's dealers, and it's giving me a list of dealers to which I have access to. So let me go back. In this case, there was only one dealer that's there. So let me look at something that has a bit more data. So let me go back to the main list. Alright, so I will then get a list of all the entities that are there. And assuming that I click on farmers, I will now get a list of all the farmers that I have access to. Right? So when this list comes up, it's giving me a list of 500 farmers that I have access to. So 500 is the max that you can have for any of the objects on the handset. That's what gets synchronized down to the handset. So now if I pick a particular farmer's name, it gives me the detail of what information we have for that farmer. So for example, if I click on Venkateshwarulu, I get his mobile number, I get the village, the taluk, how much land he has, whether he's aware of bioseeds, whether he's already using the product. So all the information that I would need about this particular farmer is in one centralized location here. So when I look at the farmer, I get all of the information that's related to him or her, him for the most part. So let's go back to the main menu. What I see when I get here, if I want to choose, let's say I want to look at what activities I have had, I can go in and click on the activity interaction button, and now it will show me a list of all the activities that are there under my user ID. So if I click on a particular activity here, which is Veerapur Farmers Meet, I get the detail of that activity, which shows me what that activity type was, how many people were there, where the activity happened, and who the key dealer was, the key farmers were, and so on. So this is the kind of information that you can collect, and again, this is something that's configurable and can be set up to do exactly the to track exactly the information that you would want to keep track of. So any of these entities that are here on the main list, if you go in and click, I'm clicking on crops and products now, it gives me a list, and from there I can go into a detailed view. In this case, I'm seeing just a single entry here, and that's because I have access only to a single entry in my territory. So now this one is showing me that a farmer called Rajinder is using cotton from Shriram Bioseed, and the particular type that he's using is the Avatar BG2. So this is the kind of information that I get on the particular crop and product that I looked at. So now let's say that I want to add some bit of new data. Here's what we would do. I'm going in to add a farmer here. So what I get is a screen where I can add in all the data about the farmer. So what I get is I can add in the first name and last name on these fields here, and I can add the mobile number. But for the most part, all the other bits of data are things that I can get from a drop-down list. For example, the taluk, the village, all of these are drop-down. So let's say I pick Velgattur. I've chosen a particular taluk, so that gets filled in there. I can choose the village that this person belongs to, and let me pick Sanabanda. So I've chosen a village, and the reason for doing this is to prevent a lot of data entry errors that could otherwise happen. So now I can enter the name of the person. So the last name is Raju, and let me put in a first name, Shivaraj, and I'm going to add a mobile number for this person, 78524136689. Alright, so this is what is the information I've added, and I'm just going to add this in. Right, so this is how you would add a bit of new data to through using the handset. So now when you look at that, I have Shivraj Raju, which I just added right on the top of the list. Right, so this is how you would add data into the system. Now going back to the main menu, what I have is the list of all of the the list of all the entities that I can work with, which is the farmers, the dealers, the distributors, the tracks, the interactions that I have with people. So all of this gets added in using the tablet, and these are all the different things that you can do, including transactions and expenses and orders, the volumes of village sales volumes. All of this information can be entered by the market development officer on the field. So these are all the villages that I have access to, and it's showing the counts there of how many contacts I have in various villages and so on. So overall, on the handset, you get a huge amount of information that you can add and access and track using the Android device, whether it is a phone or a tablet. In this particular case, I'm showing this to you on a tablet, but you could do the same thing on any Android phone. I hope this has been it's clear what all can be done using the Impel Touch for in this particular case, in the Shriram Bioseed case, and I hope you've been able to understand what all are possible with this device.